hast no right but to do thy will. Do that, and no other shall say nay.
Welcome to the Dark Ascent podcast, where we illuminate the path to discovering your true will. This is episode 23. Can you create in someone else's reality? To learn more about our work, please visit darkascent.org. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast. I am your host, Melektoth, and I am here with my wife, Elinara.
Hi!
And today we are talking about something that if you're on my mailing list, you've probably already seen me talking about this recently, but if you're not, then this may be a new topic.
And you should subscribe, because we're awesome.
Yeah. There goes Elinara's advertising for us. But yes, you can subscribe to the podcast on our website that I just mentioned in the introduction. But if you're not there, then this will be a brand new topic. And basically what we're talking about is it possible to create in someone else's reality? You know, I was doing a little bit of research before this podcast, and I know in general, just from what I've heard from other people, but I was doing some research to sort of validate that or check to see whether that was true. But what I found to be the consensus among law of attraction teachers is that you cannot create in someone else's reality, because whatever emotions they're feeling are going to go out there and attract their reality, so you can't go against that yourself and create something different for them. And not only do they say you can't create in someone else's reality, but they also say that you cannot, say, curse someone else or send ill will upon them or anything negative like that, especially. So that's sort of the consensus that I've seen, but is that really true? And I've had some personal experiences recently that possibly have pointed otherwise. And so that's what I want to discuss today. I think it's an interesting topic because a lot of people, pretty much anyone, knows someone that they'd like to help. But, you know, if you believe that the law of attraction is, you know, the supreme law of the universe, and that you can't go against someone's vibration and you can't help them just energetically from afar, then you might feel a little powerless to be able to help that person. So how true is that really? So I think where I'll start is with a little experiment that Elinara and I did a couple years ago.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, a couple years ago. And in this experiment, we decided I was going to try to have her do something with the law of attraction that she would not normally do. Nothing bad, nothing weird or scary or anything, just something she normally wouldn't do, something that was not in her will or that was not desirable to her.
And I knew he was going to do this, but not what he was going to do.
Yeah, she didn't know what was coming. And I didn't tell her at all ever until after the fact. And so there was no confirmation bias or anything like that. I didn't tell her what I was going to do. I didn't tell her when I was trying to do it. So,
and it's not like you did it all that often.
No.
You didn't do it like you're doing now, where it's every day.
Right, exactly.
So it took a little longer because he was kind of new at it.
Exactly. So what I decided to do, as a silly little example, because I didn't want to do anything that was scary or something to her that she wouldn't like. So Elinara hates pickles. Will not eat a pickle, no matter what.
And Melektoth loves pickles.
Yes, I love pickles. So I decided that I'm going to get Elinara to eat a pickle. That was my goal. And because I knew she would never just eat a pickle, like that was not going to happen by any normal means. And so if it happened, I knew that it was the law of attraction. I knew it wasn't anything else. It wasn't any mundane explanation, but it would have had to be the law of attraction. So I started trying to manifest, and, at first not too much happened, but the results are actually really interesting. there were a few things that happened. The first thing that happened was that, and you might want to fill in details because I don't remember everything, but she ate some kind of pickle chip, like a potato chip, right?
Yeah, I was at my mom's and we were having dinner. And I think she accidentally bought the pickle chips. Dill pickle potato chips.
Yeah.
I don't think she realized it until I bit into it and I'm like, this isn't regular. But I really liked them. I was like, these are really good.
Right.
And I'd always wanted to actually try them, but I never actually did. I was afraid to beforehand.
Yeah.
So I was kind of forced to eat them. Well, I wanted chips with my sandwich. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
So that was the first thing that happened. The next thing that happened, I don't remember how long after that.
I don't know even if this is the right order.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, the next thing that happened was that, wasn't it that you wanted to see how to make a good tuna sandwich or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know why I was eating tuna fish. I think it was during my Muslim days.
Yeah.
And I asked my sister how to make tuna fish because you don't just eat it out of the can. You know, you drain it and then you mix some stuff in it. Well, she said to use relish. Well, I didn't know what relish was.
You didn't know that relish was pickles?
Nope.
So.
But she said to use relish. I'm like, okay, I'll use relish.
And happily ate it.
And happily ate it. Yeah. And it was the sweet relish, too, which, I mean, I liked it, but I'll probably try the other kind next time.
Right.
But actually, I think that was first. I think the chips came later.
Okay. And then much later on, you know, at the time we were living in New York and we had been visiting my hometown in Pennsylvania where we live now. And we went to this restaurant and she ate fried pickles of all things. I don't know what possessed her to want to try fried pickles.
Because my cousin, well, your cousin, ordered them and I'm like, I want to try them. And I loved them.
So 3 events. And that was my goal, was to get her to eat pickles. Now, she never got out a jar of pickles and reached in and ate a pickle.
I never would either.
But the manifestation worked in such a way that she still ate them, but in ways that worked around her own desires, her own beliefs, her own expectations, and so on and so forth. And that's what I found fascinating. I knew that she would never just eat a pickle. That wasn't going to happen. And I didn't know what was going to happen, but the universe found a way that she ate pickles without really eating raw pickles. So it was just fascinating. That was my first real excursion into this idea. Can you create in someone else's reality? And I have done it on and off over the years, but that was really my first very deliberate attempt at it. And so jump ahead until very recently, and I was thinking about this. I don't even remember what prompted it.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I was thinking, you know, wouldn't that be a great thing to do that for others? Like, people get so stuck sometimes. You know, when I have clients, when I have coaching clients, they don't know how to get past their resistance. They really get stuck trying to manifest. But wouldn't it be a great thing if I could kind of manifest for them or help them manifest, sort of be their training wheels of sorts? So I sent out an email to my mailing list and said, hey, I have this experiment I want to try. I believe it's possible, but I want to see if I can create in someone else's reality. And within 20 minutes, I got 2 responses. And I said I was only accepting 1. I took the first person, and she told me what she wanted. So what I said I was going to do was that they would tell me their manifestation. I would do a tarot reading up front to sort of gauge the energy of the situation. And then I would spend 7 days manifesting for them just like I do for myself, using the same techniques and, you know, everything the same that I've discovered for myself that works. And then after those 7 days, I would do a final reading and see what the change was, and then that person can tell me from their end what changed. And so I did that, and the first reading was sort of negative. I spent 7 days, and I really had moments of sort of doubt where I just wasn't sure, is this really going to work or not? But as I really got into the process, it seemed to flow more easily, and then the final reading was so different that it really convinced me, like, this is really true. And then her response to the whole thing, she said how things were starting to shift for her. All this stuff was coming together. She was having things happen that never happened before. And things were really starting to move. And this was just 7 days of manifesting. So, I mean, that can get a lot done, but it's also not that much either. So I was shocked that it worked so well and so quickly and so definitively. There was really no question in my mind that it had worked. So can you manifest in someone else's reality? The answer is definitely yes. Now, why that is, I'm not entirely sure because, I believe in the law of attraction. I believe that you get whatever you put out there. But I also believe that we have influence. Now, again, other teachers say you cannot do it. In fact, I've heard Abraham Hicks say that the only way you could create for someone else is if you tell them you're doing manifestation for them or magic for them or whatever, and they believe you, and because of their belief in what you're doing, that is an opening for the universe to bring them what they want. But that was the trick. I never told Elinara in our experiment, I never told her what I was going to have her do. So she couldn't believe, oh, he's going to try to get me to eat pickles. I can't eat pickles. Or, am I going to eat pickles? Like she didn't know what I was going to do. And that's why I did that. I wanted it to be as scientific as possible. I don't believe that's the reason because I've done it where I haven't even told the person that I was going to manifest. If I was trying to influence someone else, let's say in my favor, I've had that happen before.
Well, you called it telepathy, but it really wasn't. I think it was manifesting.
Yeah, I've had kind of instant manifestations where I really wanted someone to do something that they really normally wouldn't do, and they did it. And it really wasn't something they would do. So that's definitely happened. So I don't believe that is the reason. But I do think that we have a certain power of influence on others through our energy, through our will. If we are all one beneath the surface, then it would make sense that we can influence someone else.
Right, because we're gods and goddesses. What we want in our reality has to happen somehow, right?
Right.
So then it would influence the other person because if the other person is you anyway.
Right. And in a sense, anything that's in my reality is mine. I'm really in favor of, if you've heard of Ho'oponopono, and I've been unsure about it over the years, but I really like the philosophy of it where if it's in my reality, it's mine. It's my responsibility. So if you are having a problem or if you are having some issue that you're dealing with, and I know about it, it's now mine. And I can work on that issue. I can heal it. I can try to resolve it because it is now mine. It is in my universe. And because it's in my universe, that means it's mine to affect.
And remember that shamans can do this, and being a healer, being a witch, is nothing more than manifesting.
Oh, yeah. With props.
Yeah, with props or rituals or whatever. And everyone has been able to do it since the beginning of time, really. So to say that you can't do it goes against all of human experience.
Exactly. And that brings me into the next topic, because what else have people done since the beginning of history? People have cursed. And I wasn't sure about this at first either, whether it was possible. And I don't believe it's wise, but I do believe it's possible. I've heard of way too many stories where someone has cursed another and it's worked. Now, again, I've heard Abraham Hicks say that you tell someone you're cursing them or you wish ill will on them, and then they expect it, and then they allow in negative things and manifest negative manifestations. But what if you don't tell them? And I've heard of stories where a witch or someone in voodoo is often where I hear it, will not tell someone. There was a story, and I won't tell the whole thing because I don't remember it honestly, but there was a story where this grandmother, I think it was, where this older lady did not like her daughter's husband.
Oh, that's right. I remember
at
this.
all. And so she decided to curse him and didn't tell anyone. And everything she wanted came true. He came down with a horrible health condition. He lost his job. He lost everything. And she did not tell him she was going to do something. So what's that? What's that about? Now, obviously, that's anecdotal evidence, but...
And she did lift it, and he was fine.
And then she lifted it, and he was fine,
I don't think he knew. I have a story, a quick one.
Mm-hmm.
I read a book about Harriet Tubman. I had to do research about her. And she hated her slave master with a passion because he was really cruel. And finally, she got so fed up, and she was very Christian, very spiritual. And she was like, "Kill him, Lord." Not a week later did he die. And I kid you not.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh my God, my prayers killed him."
Yes.
And she did. She prayed that he die, and he died.
Yep.
Something happened. I don't remember. I wish I did. But the point was, she did it, and she was a Christian.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, yeah.
Words are powerful. So it happens. And I was thinking about, this is a minor little thing. I've not had much experience here because I've really not done much with it. But I was just telling Elinara yesterday, this was something I was thinking about recently. We have a friend who is very well off. She's a millionaire. Her family comes from money. She does not hurt for money at all. And she travels all the time, and she's very generous. But she has a lot of money. And a few months ago, we were all out to dinner. She likes to take my family out to dinner a lot. And I was just thinking, wouldn't it be horrible? And I wasn't trying. I swear, I wasn't trying. It'd be horrible. She had some kind of money issue because we wouldn't even know about it or what would happen. What if she didn't have as much money as she thought on her cards, or she could be in some kind of dire financial situation and we wouldn't even know it? And this thought just kept nagging at me. I'm like, that's a weird thought. Why am I thinking this? And it just sort of kept nagging at me. And a few days later, she left her credit card at a restaurant. So for like 4 days, she had to do everything on her debit card. She had to withdraw cash from the ATM. She didn't really mind that much, but I think it was a little inconvenient for her. So it wasn't a huge issue. And, I really didn't put any energy into this because I didn't do any of this intentionally. It was just sort of a negative thought about money on her behalf. And then she has a negative financial mishap. And I didn't really think about it till months later, but I thought that was something. That wasn't just a coincidence. It was right afterwards, within a matter of days. And she's never, as long as I've known her, left her credit card somewhere. She's very meticulous.
Yeah.
That's never happened. And it was just a thought. I didn't mean to do anything. I didn't put any energy into it. It was just a thought that I was a little obsessed with, even just maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know. It was nothing that big, but it was just a thought that I had. And that's what happened. So I do believe that you can curse another. You can cause something negative to happen to another. Because I've seen it, I've had things like that happen. I've heard stories about it. It's possible. Like I said, our thoughts are so powerful. We can do good or ill upon another with our thoughts. And that's a really big responsibility, in my opinion. Really huge. And I've said this before, that your thoughts about other people have an effect. And realizing that whole situation kind of brought it home to me. But I used to always say, if you're angry with another person, if you're having a negative thought about another person, now it depends how developed you are with manifestation, with the law of attraction, how powerful your thoughts are. The better you get at manifesting, the more powerful your thoughts tend to be. But a negative thought is a negative thought, and it is going to affect in some way another person. Now, it could be, if it's a very weak thought, if you're not very strong, or if it's just a fleeting thing, it could just be a very minor irritant that maybe pings on their aura and just rolls off, and they might not even notice. I mean, people have some sort of innate astral protection. But it will have an effect. It will hit them in some way. And if it's strong enough, it could get through that protection and actually have an effect. So it is possible. If I wanted Elinara to eat pickles, again, that's a silly example, but if I wanted her to eat pickles, a negative manifestation would have been her actually eating pickles and hating it. But I think what's important is my desire was not ill will. It was not negative. There was no negative intention. I didn't mean any harm to anyone. So her manifestation happened in a way that was both in alignment with my will, but also in alignment with her desires. I think that's really important. As long as you are in the positive, as long as you have a positive intention, then you are not going to be harming someone else. Because if you want something that is contrary to their desires, you will still probably get it. It'll just have to go through some loophole that the universe has to find.
Yeah.
You know, the universe says, okay, well, she doesn't like pickles from jars, but hey, there are these pickle chips. There's a relish she doesn't even know about. And there are fried pickles, and there are all sorts of things that she'll like, she'll enjoy, but they're still pickles.
It worked.
And so that happened. But if I truly have an ill will towards someone else, then something negative will happen. It's all about your intention, the emotion you're putting behind it, what your motivation is, and all that kind of stuff. It just really depends. But both the positive and the negative are very, very possible. It just depends on, again, your strength of will, the power behind your thoughts, how competent you are at this whole law of attraction thing. It just depends on a lot. But you can definitely affect someone else. So I think it's a big responsibility. You know, when I was starting to do this manifestation for others, after the person I experimented on, I then created a service and I started offering it for hire. You know, people could pay for it and I would do it for them. And I was thinking about it and thinking, this is really awesome because I get to sit here and have a positive intention for someone else. And not only will that go out and touch them in a positive way, but it will also touch me in a positive way because I'm going to get whatever I'm immersing myself in, which is going out there and touching them. And that, to me, is such a perfect thing. It's like, if I hold a positive intention about someone else, it can't help but to touch me as well. If I hold an intention of abundance about someone else, then it can't help but to touch me as well, to have that abundant intention. It goes around. Not karma, but just whatever energy you hold for anyone is what you hold for yourself because you are there holding it. It's in your universe, and so you're going to experience the same thing. And that's why it really doesn't work to curse someone else. Yes, it works, okay? But why I won't do it, because I kind of coined this phrase, I don't know if I coined it or not, but it just popped in my head when I was emailing about this the other day, that all too often the poisoner becomes the poisoned. The poison you deal out to another is often put back on you. Because how can I feel negative about someone else without that poisoning my well, without that affecting me in some way? And this is something that I've heard from black magicians who try to curse someone, and they'll say the more you do it, there's more of a risk of it affecting you as well. And they have certain techniques they'll go through, like salt baths or burying an object that they use for doing the curse, you know, putting something in the earth grounds it, things like that. But why? And you don't have to be doing black magic to be cursing someone. I mean, even just something as simple as, I know everyone does this, being jealous of someone else is a sort of curse.
Well, that's what the evil eye is.
Right, exactly.
Amalocchio in Italian.
So something as simple as being jealous of someone else is a curse, and it may not hit them. It may or may not. It'll ping on them in some way, but it may not be strong enough to get through. It just depends on the energy of your intention. But you holding that jealousy will not only affect them, it'll affect you. How can you manifest the positive life you want if you are holding jealousy or negative intentions about someone else? And so I really think, and I'm not normally a very light and fluffy type of person, but to me, it's very obvious, especially as I'm doing this work, that if you are holding positive intentions about anyone, it will touch you as well. So there's no downside to holding a positive intention. You know, it's like people who want justice on someone who they perceive as having done something bad, and they dedicate their lives to bringing this person to justice. And we as a society sort of have this obsession about punishing those who deserve punishment, and we kind of get a kick out of that. But if you see these people who dedicate their lives to punishing someone, to bringing someone to justice, it often rips them apart just as much as anyone else. They're not happy. And they might say, if he goes to jail, I'll be happy and I'll know that I did something good. But they're not really happy.
No.
You can't be, because you're holding a negative intention about someone else. So this applies to anything. Manifestation is not just when you sit down and visualize or when you do something deliberate. It's anything, any emotion you hold about yourself or someone else. It's going to go out there and do something, but not only will it do something out there, it will affect you as well. It will be planted in your garden, so to speak, in your reality. So that, I think, is a really important thing to realize, is that you have to decide how you want to go out there and what kind of experience you want to have, what seeds you want to sow, so to speak, in your own and others' reality. Because how you approach others is how your life will be as well. And the more positively you approach others, the more positively your life will turn. So it's just a really powerful thing. But to realize the power that we have to influence someone else, whether to the positive or the negative. I mean, you have that power. It's your choice how you use it. I just wouldn't use it for the negative personally. It's your choice. But to know that we have that power and can wield it at will to help or to harm is a huge responsibility. Because anything, again, that is in our universe, anything that we are aware of is ours. It's ours to heal. It's ours to do with as we will. And I think it's something to really give a lot of thought to. What's in my reality and what am I doing about it emotionally and otherwise? Am I poisoning it and myself by being angry, by being upset, by being resentful? Or am I healing it and myself by being positive and optimistic and whatnot? It's a huge thing. In the end, yes, you can and do manifest for other people even without knowing it. It happens all the time, even if you're not deliberate about it or anything like that. You can manifest for someone else, whether positively or negatively. And if it's something that goes against their perceived desires, then the universe will often find a loophole. It's a fascinating field for me. It's still something I want to experiment with more. I loved seeing how the universe dealt with that example with Elinara.
Yeah.
It was just so interesting how it found that little loophole. Like, well, she doesn't like pickles, so I'll get her to eat pickle chips. Like, relish or whatever.
Fried pickles.
Fried pickles.
That was the best one.
You know, just fascinating. So I'm playing around with this. I encourage you to do the same if you want to. It's fun to play around when you really know and realize 100% of the law of attraction works. It's just fun to play with it and to see what happens and to kind of use your life as a laboratory of sorts, a scientific experiment. That's what I've done for 4 years now, working with the law of attraction. So it's just fun. And I'm past the point of wondering whether it works. I know it works. And now it's just, what can I do with it? How can I play with it? So that's what I suggest doing. Hopefully that makes sense to you. This is very different, again, than what pretty much every law of attraction teacher out there says, but I've done my own experiments. I've heard stories from others. So I'm not just coming here and disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing. This is something that I've studied, and I think that's important. So I encourage you to try it out. And if you would like some help with manifesting, I am doing this new service, and I'll give a link in the show notes, but you can go to darkascent.org/manifestation for hire. It's all one word. And see my service there. I will help you for 7 days to manifest whatever it is you want to manifest. There's no limitation. Nothing is forbidden except for cursing. I won't do that for the same reasons I already mentioned. So if you want to check that out, it'd be awesome. I'd love to help you work on your manifestation. And as I'm helping you, it'll help me too. And if you want to see the show notes for this podcast, and we are doing transcripts now, by the way, ever since we started in episode 21, transcripts, so that's fun. If you want to see the show notes or transcript, and also start a discussion about this topic, you can go to darkascent.org/DA023. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. We will be back in 2 weeks for another episode of the Dark Ascent podcast. Thanks, everyone. Love is the law. Love under well.